Miss Reed, and I am a proud graduate of the University of North Texas. Go Mean Green! I teach science here at Poteet, and I want to talk to you about my college experience. So when I was little, I always liked science, anything to do with medicine, and so I knew that I wanted to do something in the science field. I didn't know if I wanted to go to medical school or not. And so when I was looking at colleges, I was looking at programs that had a good pre-med program. And so when I was in high school, I took a lot of science classes and math classes, advanced science classes, because I knew that's what I wanted to do in college. And so I graduated from Mount Pleasant High School, and at the time, any graduate of Mount Pleasant High School got a full ride to our community college. So since I graduated in the top 10% of my class, I got a book allowance. And so that helped me kind of get rid of all of my basics that I needed before I would transfer to a major university. And so that really helped me and my parents out. It also enabled me to get a really high GPA because the classes were smaller at the community college. And so then when I decided to transfer to the University of North Texas, I didn't have to take the SAT, the ACT, I didn't have to take any of those major college entrance exams. They accepted me because I had that high GPA. I didn't want to be by myself all the time and just go into class and go back to the dorm. I wanted to have some fun, and I wanted to make new friends. I wanted to experience the college life. And so I decided to visit the Baptist Student Ministry there on campus and loved it. Made a lot of really neat friends that are still friends today, that I still see ever so often. So they're lifelong friends. But while being involved in the BSM, the Baptist Student Ministry, I also got plugged into a sorority there on campus, a Christian sorority. And just through those experiences, I learned a lot about leadership and what it takes to be a good leader, especially at a big campus in a place that was bigger than where I grew up. And so just through my college experience, I gained a lot of leadership qualities and just it just helped my self-esteem and confidence. I am Miss Reed, and I am a proud graduate of the University of North Texas. Go Mean Green!
I'm Miss Grigsby, class of 2011, Action Jacks. Small town in Arkansas. I'm from Hope, Arkansas, and I'm a first-generation college graduate. So when I was in school, I always knew I'd probably go to college, but wasn't quite sure how I was going to get there. So when I got to high school, I started researching different universities close and far away from home, really looking at how much was this going to cost me, how far is it going to be from mom and dad. I didn't really want to go somewhere where all my friends went because I wanted to make new friends. So I started researching when I was in high school and really thinking about how am I going to pay for this. I was actually able to earn scholarships to many places that I wanted to go, so that was a huge blessing. Okay, so I decided to go to Stephen F. Austin State University. It is in Nacogdoches, Texas. It's a pretty small town university. I researched SFA on my own. I told my parents where we needed to go to look at colleges. I applied for the scholarships on my own. I did the applications on my own. Mom and Dad were incredibly supportive emotionally, but not financially. That's not something they were able to do. And I was fortunate enough to be able to pay for almost all of school through scholarships. So it can be done, and you don't have to be an athlete to do it. I did it all on academics, so I would highly recommend that to you. I met some of my best friends while I was at SFA. I met my husband while I was at SFA. I still believe purple is my favorite color to this day. I am extremely passionate about education, and I would highly recommend to anyone that you do get an education, and that if you can, that you go away, go to a state school, go to a four-year university to do it. It's an experience that you will never forget. Not just for the academics, just that's the time in your life when you grow up. That's when you figure out who you are and you form your beliefs and opinions, and you make your real-time, your adult friends. I'm Miss Grigsby, class of 2011, Axum Jacks.
I'm Marnie Cushing, and I'm your non-traditional student. Go TWU Pioneers! My name is Marnie Cushing, and I'm your pirate librarian. And when I was in high school, I was a good student, A's and B's. I did pretty well. And when I was looking for a college, I didn't really look. I kind of picked a college that I thought my parents would approve of, but I wanted to get as far away from my hometown as possible. So I lived in West Texas, almost to New Mexico, way out there in the desert. And I picked a little bitty college in Arkansas. So I moved 12 hours away from my family and my friends and went to school the first year, and I was miserable. I hated school. I hated being so far away from my family. I could only come home, a couple of times a year. And that was before cell phones and free long distance and all that, so I didn't even get to talk to my family that much. So it was very hard on me, and I went from being like an A, B student to being a straight C student. I mean, we're lucky I passed my classes because I was so unhappy. So I moved back home after that first year, and decided to go to my community college right there in town. I spent 2 semesters at home, and I liked that, but it was just kind of like a big high school. A lot of my friends had stayed back home, and I really was just sort of aimless. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I think I changed majors every single semester, which was kind of obnoxious. And finally, my little brother graduated from high school, and he was going to go to the University of Texas in Austin. And I went down there to visit him, and I was like, oh my goodness, I love Austin. It's wonderful. And so I decided that that was the place for me. And I moved to Austin, and I went for a semester, and I flunked out of the University of Texas. It was bad. One semester, it was tough. It was so big, and I was this girl from sort of a smaller community, and I kind of got lost. And again, I was unhappy. I didn't like the classes I was taking. I felt like I didn't have any purpose. My parents were paying for my education back then, and I finally just told my dad one day, I said, I'm done. I'm stopping. I'm dropping out of school. I'm unhappy. I don't like it. I don't know what I want to do, and I'm miserable. And I need to get a job, and I need to make some money, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And so my parents were a little apprehensive, but then they were like, well, okay, because obviously, we're paying for something that you're not getting any use out of. And so I stopped college for a couple of years, went to work full time, and working was good, but I still had this desire to go back to school. I moved back to where my family lived in West Texas. I had still been living in Austin. And I went to school at the University of Texas of the Permian Basin. I spent the rest of my college time there, and I loved it. And I graduated and got my teaching degree and became a teacher. I moved from teaching in West Texas to Mesquite, and started teaching here, and decided to get my master's in library science. And so I went to the Texas Woman's University up in Denton, and got most of that online, and that was awesome too. And so I'm doing a job that I love, and even though I had a really bumpy start, and I had a lot of transcripts that I have to kind of pull together when I look at that, it's been the best choice for me, and so it all worked out in the end. I'm Marnie Cushing, and I'm your non-traditional student. Go TWU Pioneers!